been an eventful week for me. I've had a lot of people reach out or just different things show up in my life this week about health and relationships, which I see intimately connected, especially depending on what you mean by health. It's not just your biohacking routine, your cold plunge, your red light therapy, your supplements, your peptides. It's much more to that: sexual health, relationship health, financial health, mental health, emotional health, and how that feeds into relationships. I've talked with, in the last, I guess it's been 3 days, but in the last week, just more and more people, men and women, more so men, that are just struggling in their relationships. Knowing that they made mistakes, wanting to get their wife back, or how do I get back out there? As guys, maybe we've heard a woman say, "I want to feel safe." As guys, we have no idea what that even means just on the surface, let alone the depth of it. And makes me think back to a friend. I was on the phone with her. This is a couple of years ago. Stuff like this has happened, but this is a good example. And she was getting in her car, and another guy was getting in his car next to her at the same time. And they kind of opened up their doors around the same time, or like walked to their cars at the same time, and it really like startled her. And I'm on the phone with her, and then she's like, oh. And then she gets in the car, she's like, you know how interesting it is? And she knows I could understand, because I've heard these things quite a few times. There's a time when I had no idea. Before 27 years old, I was absolutely clueless, as many of us are. I didn't feel like safe, and he was like he was gonna get into my car and this and that, and she's telling me these things. And it's something for us as guys that not only hasn't, the school book or the book of life sat down and taught us this, but it's not like we were educated on this or our dad sat us down. And as men and women, we're just so different, and most of us as men haven't put ourselves really in our female partners or our ex-partner or whatever it is shoes to understand, wow, they're that much smaller. Even if you have a husband and a wife, or the wife is larger, let's say taller and has more and is heavier, she's still, most likely, with very rare exception, physically vulnerable to him for her physical safety. Meaning if there was a scuffle, he would win. Now, we kind of just take these things for granted as guys, and that's just how it shows up in terms of the physical safety on the surface. Women thinking about their physical safety, women going, oh, it's 9:30, and there's no one else in this parking garage. There's a few cars. What if someone's behind that car? As guys, a lot of times we don't think, depending on what our training is. We go, I'll just fight. I'll run. I have a CCW. I have my Glock in my bag. I'm good. It doesn't even register. And again, that physical safety, that's more of a primal thing. And as guys, we can kind of just dismiss it if we start to hear about it from a woman, because she can say things like, I just feel unsafe. I just feel physically unsafe. And a guy can rationalize or actually take it personally to our ego of like, well, we live in this nice neighborhood. We're in, Canada, we're in the States. A guy that can hurt his pride. Like, is this not expensive enough a neighborhood? And can be like, it's a really nice neighborhood. And in a time of what's been a bit of change and chaos in the last 5 years on planet Earth, and there's a lot of great things that are going to come, but a lot of disruption as industries change over the next few years, 10 years, the average woman's going to feel less safe. And I invite you and I challenge you as a guy to love your current partner, your next partner, enough to find out what that means to her. And as guys, so many things for us is like an A to B. Because like, well, what does safety mean to you? Well, I asked her at dinner. She told me a couple things. I guess we're good. Female experience doesn't exactly work that way. Female experience is very fluid. God clearly has a sense of humor that a guy's hormone cycle is basically at 10 in the morning. You're the same today as tomorrow, as next week, as next month, as next year, even until your testosterone goes down, or you do things to rebalance yourself. Could be TRT, not necessarily taking TRT, taking care of your body, taking supplements, lifting weights, peptides, detox, whatever it is. Where a woman's body, for about 30 some or 40 some years, is constant change. She has at least 4 different personalities in her hormone cycle. Not a 28-day cycle, that's true, but there's at least 4 personalities. Some women would argue more. Again, I'm not a woman. I've had 0 menstrual cycles. Just talking to women, being so fascinated about this for coming up on 15 years now. We're so different, and we should have some fun with it, and it should be celebrated. But here's the thing, I mentioned the physical safety, right? There's a bigger one of feeling emotionally safe, where she thinks this guy really cares. He really deeply desires to feel what I'm feeling, or try to do that, to see me, to understand me, that she feels seen and heard. Validated, even depending on how you're using that term. Like healthily validated, like your experience, your human experience of a woman that's different than, I'm a dog, you're a cat, and I want to understand your experience. It's totally different than mine. And for her to really feel that, not just something that we read, it was a seminar technique or something in a book, and I hope this gets me laid later, not that, which paradoxically, by really caring, as your emotional intimacy transforms, your physical intimacy transforms in ways you can't imagine. When I look at all the weird stuff that came up to my life this week, some of it was beautiful to hear and some of it was hard to hear, because some of them were people I know intimately, friends, almost like family. And seeing 2 things, just women feeling unsafe. And as guys, maybe not to say that should cause us pain, but maybe it should. To have a pause to go, wow, that's their experience of life. I had no idea. Like, in a way, if you have the bravery to step up to the opportunity to go, shit, man, I'm a protector, and I didn't even realize I haven't been protecting because I didn't even know she was having this experience. Her female friends do. Fuck. Like, let's go, bro. Time to step up, time to transform. And then the other part of that coin of talking to guys this week, of guys just not knowing what to do and just being in pain. Some guys I talk to are in relationships, going through breakups, some are single, and just having this chatter in the background of the mind that gets in the way of listening to the wisdom of the heart. And a lot of it, and if you asked me 5 years ago, I would have told you this is total bullshit probably. A lot of it comes from stuff when we were children. Does it mean you need to talk about what happened when you were 7 years old in therapy every Tuesday at 2 p.m. for the next 25 years? Honestly, absolutely no. However, if you have a wound, like if you got shot in the stomach and you just chose to ignore it, you will have major consequences. Not a criticism of you. Ask me how I know, bro. I went through this experience years ago, and knowing enough about wanting a woman to feel safe doing my best to provide that, getting so far for a while, and then having this internal conflict where some things just needed to be healed can be a great word. I think sometimes an even better word is healed and alchemized, meaning you had this experience from childhood, from what you believed in childhood, that looks like it was a big piece of shit. But you don't know, we find out later, when you do a little digging, that inside that's just shit-colored wrapping paper. That there's solid gold. You have a kilo, you have 2.2 pounds of gold inside what looks like a big dog turd from God, from life. And I'll leave you with this as we wrap up here in a moment. What would life be like? Some of this you'll theorize on. What would life be like if you didn't have those internal conflicts? If whatever it was from last week, last month, 20 years ago, that you just were like, I'm good, I'm chill, I'm not worried, I'm not moving my leg, I'm not needing to go, where's the next Red Bull or Adderall or cigarettes? Done all those too, by the way. You just felt solid, and it was really nice and kind of almost easy at times. You're just like, I just feel like I'm in my body and I feel fucking good and shit. It's nice. You felt centered and you felt peaceful and you felt calm and you felt strong, and you knew that the women around you felt really safe. Like, this is a good dude. Wow, what a gift that I get to have this guy be like my hero. This guy is in the upper echelon. It doesn't matter what he makes, even though obviously got to pay the bills, but he's in the top 1% of men because of how he's taking care of himself and how he can show up for me as the wife or girlfriend and our kids. What would the world be like? Something to think about. More on that later. Thank you for tuning in on this beautiful Wednesday night. And it's finally not raining here in beautiful Columbia. See you soon.